And the thing is, I'm not exaggerating at all when I say that she held a goodbye party for her boyfriend before ending his life. I mean, it doesn't get any more sick and twisted than that. Today we're talking about Joe Sink. I can almost guarantee you, I would put money on the fact that you will be angry by the time this video is over. Before we get started, let's acknowledge the dog in the room, Belly. She's taking a nap. She does not like to be alone when she's taking a nap, and she doesn't like to be moved. She's just like me. So we're just gonna let her be. Joe Sink was born to parents Maria and Nino. He was the oldest of 2 children. He had a little brother, and the family resided in Newcastle. Super close family. The parents adored their sons, and it was the kind of family that actually loved to spend time together. The 4 of them really treasured each other. Joe was always very outgoing. He had a ton of friends who he loved spending time with. He grew up loving sports. He was just naturally athletic. You know, that kind of guy that's just kind of good at everything? That was Joe. He did well in school. He was well liked. He was also pretty smart. He went on to get a degree in engineering, and he graduated in 1994. The following year, in 1995, Joe Sink met his soon-to-be girlfriend, Anu Singh. I think that's how you say her name. It's literally spelled A-N-U, Anu. That makes sense to me. They met when they were out one night. The start to their relationship was immediate. From the moment that they met, they got along like a house on fire. Anu was born in India, but now lived with her siblings and her parents in Newcastle. Anu also had a very outgoing personality, and I guess that you could say she did have a lot going for her on paper, but internally she did have some struggles. It sounded like she struggled pretty badly with her mental health in the past. The 2 of them did long distance for a little bit because Anu was going to school, and they really liked each other, but slowly but surely cracks started to show. Joe's parents were the first to notice how Joe began to change once he was in a relationship with Anu, because Anu was very clingy. She wanted to be with Joe or talk to Joe all the time, but it felt like she wanted to be the only person to be with or talk to Joe. She would interrupt conversations between Joe and his parents and take him away, or she would just call him as he was sitting down to eat dinner with his family, and she would expect him to leave the dinner table to go and talk to her. Joe's mother said, quote, "He wasn't himself anymore. She demanded too much of him," end quote. By 1996, Anu was still completing her studies. She was in law school, and Joe made the move to Canberra to go and live with her. His parents were not happy about that decision, not only because their son would now be 5 hours away, but primarily because they didn't think that being in a relationship with Anu was the right thing for him. You could just tell that their relationship was not healthy. Around this time as well, Anu developed an unhealthy obsession with her self-image. She wasn't eating properly. In fact, she was barely eating. She was struggling with confidence and often talked poorly about herself. She became obsessed with her diet and would spend hours at the gym. She also began complaining about a lot of things health-wise. She was always feeling drained, weak, tired, and she often said that she felt like bugs were crawling underneath her skin. And her personal issues would translate into her relationship through anger and resentment, because she would blame Joe for a lot of her health issues, or she would get mad at him if she was sick and he wasn't. Even though Joe was nothing but kind to her, he always took care of her. He'd always show up and be by her side at her beck and call. But Anu, she was just so angry at the world, and it was kind of obvious that she had something psychologically wrong. Not saying that that's a bad thing. You can get help for that, and that is normal, but she just didn't. I always say how important mental health is, and it is such a serious thing, but you should seek help if you need it. Her mental health was so unstable that it was causing her to see things in a negative light, to see Joe in a negative light, and she built up so much anger towards him that she eventually started talking about the possibility of ending his life. Anu spoke to one of her law school friends. Her name is Madhavi. She confided in her about the idea of ending Joe's life, and it wasn't like she said some quick comment that could easily be disregarded. Not at all. Anu told her friend that not only did she want to end Joe's life, but she also spoke about how she was so smart that she could get away with it because she was in law school. She was obviously intelligent. She said that she would know how to act insane, how to make people believe that she was crazy, so that if she was to get caught, she could manipulate people into really thinking that she was insane. But then she switched her plan. She told her friend that she actually wanted to unalive Joe and then unalive herself. And there was no sugarcoating it. Anu just said plain and simple, "This is what I want to do." Anu's parents soon noticed how off she was acting. They were actually so concerned that they contacted her university themselves and tried to get her admitted into a mental health facility without her consent so that she could get the help that she so clearly needed, but that wasn't successful on their part. Sooner than later, Anu was telling everybody about her plan to end her boyfriend's life, classmates, friends, acquaintances, so many people. She talked about it so openly that she even once asked a classmate for a weapon after telling him what she intended to do, and not one person thought, "You have issues, that is wrong, what is wrong with you?" Not one person, which that in itself is insanity. And let me actually just say, if I have any young viewers, by the way, if anyone tells you that they have plans of ending someone's life, even if you think that it is a joke, go tell someone. Ending someone's life, ending your own life, is not a joking matter, and it is something that should be taken seriously. If it is a joke, you would rather be safe than sorry. The classmate that Anu went to speak about a weapon said that he didn't have any weapons, but he did have substances, and he could give her said substance because if she or someone took enough of it, it could be lethal. It could end someone's life. So he could have wouldn't give her a weapon because he didn't have one, but he was happy to give her X amount of this substance because that would still do the job. I'm sorry. So Anu and her friend Madhabi went to this guy's house to buy said substance, and they all took the substance to know how to use it. Like, what? I'm being serious. This is what happened. Is that not just the most mental thing that you have ever heard? In October of 1997, Anu went back to that classmate's house to buy $500 worth of that substance. After that, her and Madhabi went to another classmate's house to purchase a different kind of substance, one that could be used to make a person go unconscious. October 20th of 1997, it was a Monday. Anu had decided that that day would be the day that she would unalive her boyfriend Joe and then unalive herself. So what did she do? She held a dinner party. Yeah, she wanted to play host. She held a dinner party that, unbeknownst to Joe, was literally their goodbye party because after that night, they would no longer be alive. Anu and Madhabi invited their friends, classmates, random people to this dinner party, and every single person there knew the purpose of the party. They knew that it was a goodbye party. They knew it was a goodbye party for Joe, and nobody said a thing. Nobody said anything to Joe. I cannot wrap my mind around it. It is the most shocking thing that I've ever heard. People who attended the dinner party said that that night, Anu was very caring and very loving towards Joe, so the people attending the party apparently thought that ending their lives was a joke because Anu was acting so happy that people thought that she wasn't being serious about her intentions. At the end of the night, when everyone was leaving, Madhabi was saying goodbye to everyone, and she was saying, bye, thanks for coming. Oh, by the way, this is still happening. Once all of us leave, Anu will be going through with the plan. Yep, okay. See you later. Thanks for coming. Bye. And once everyone left, Anu did attempt to end Joe's life. She crushed some of the substances into his drink. Joe drank it, and he did go unconscious. But it didn't go according to plan because the next morning he woke up. He was very out of it and very groggy, but he did wake up. And Anu was like, well, that's unfortunate that I was incapable of ending my sweet boyfriend's life who loves me so much. What should I do? I should try again. Yeah, so that Friday, Anu hosted another goodbye dinner party for her and for Joe. Same deal, everyone was invited back over. They were told that the plan remained the same, that she was going to go through with it tonight. And the people there are like, cool, what's for dinner? That dinner party went on pretty late into the early hours of the next morning. The last guest left at 6 in the morning, and Anu again attempted to end Joe's life by crushing the substance, mixing it in his drink, and then injecting him with another substance. And her attempt failed again. That is now 2 failed attempts, twice, 2 opportunities that someone could have had to save Joe's life if someone would have just said something, but nobody did. That same day, Joe was feeling unwell, but the day went on as normal. That night, Anu went over to Madhabi's house. They got in an argument. Anu went home to go see Joe, and for the 3rd time did the same thing that she had done twice before. And Joe went unconscious the next morning, the 26th of October, a Saturday. This was around 8 in the morning. Anu wakes up. She drives over to Madhabi's house, picks her up. They go back to Anu's house. Anu shows Madhabi Joe. He was lying on the bed, still breathing, but looking extremely unwell. He was pale, turning blue, but still alive. Anu tells Madhabi that the night prior, her and Joe got in a disagreement, and Joe told her that he was going to leave her. Joe did not want to be in this relationship anymore, and in return, Anu put more in his drink to end his life. So both girls are standing there looking at Joe, and they decided to go to an ATM to go get cash. Anu ended up driving back to the classmate's house to buy even more of the substance. Meanwhile, Madhabi goes to another classmate's house, filling them in on what's going on. Anu, now back at home with Joe, kind of starts freaking out because Joe is now only slowly breathing about 1 breath every 10 seconds. She freaks out. She calls her friend and basically says that she needs help reviving him. The friend is basically like, I don't want to help you. I can't help you. How about you call the paramedics? And Anu says, I don't really want to do that. I don't really want to call the paramedics. A few minutes later, Anu finally decides to do the right thing and call for help. So she calls 000, and it is the most infuriating call. She has no sense of urgency. She takes forever to give them the address, and she starts asking questions that make it sound like she's more concerned about what's going to happen to her rather than Joe. She tells the operator, quote, he's vomiting everywhere, blood stuff. And then she says, is that a bad sign? She gives them the wrong address before finally giving them the correct one, and when paramedics showed up, Joe was in horrible condition. His stomach was bloated, he had vomit all over him, and he was extremely pale. And Anu did tell the paramedics everything. She told them everything that she gave Joe, but she claimed that she only did it because she wanted him to go to sleep so that he wouldn't see her unaliving herself. Anu was hysterical, begging for them to save Joe's life, but it was too late. Joe Sink passed away later that night. Anu was immediately arrested, charged with murder, and she was taken back to the police station. condition. Before hearing about Joe's passing, Joe's mom had a horrible gut feeling that something awful had happened. She tried to call Joe, but as she was calling him, officers knocked on her front door and they said it's about Joe. Before officers said anything else, Joe's mom started crying and screaming, and she said that she knew right then and there that Anu had ended her son's life. She was crying and begging the police, saying, please don't say it, please don't tell me, please tell me it's not true. Since then, Joe's mother has said that that day was a nightmare that she never woke up from. An autopsy and a toxicology report was conducted on Joe, and it showed the exact things that his girlfriend Anu fed him to end his life. And as if they needed more evidence, police found Anu's diary, where it once again made it clear that she had full intentions to make this happen, and this was done on purpose. Madhavi was arrested, as she should be. She was charged with conspiracy to commit murder. Both of the girls were going to be tried jointly together in October and November of 1998. However, that was abandoned, and the judge ordered that they should be tried separately in the interest of fairness. Anu's trial began in March of 1999. She pled not guilty by reason of diminished responsibility. Before I read you the verdict, I want to read this quote from a forensic psychiatrist who assessed Anu. The psychiatrist supported her claims of severe mental illness, but made sure to clarify that she did know the difference between right and wrong. Quote, this was a grossly disordered woman with a mental illness. She was mad, not totally mad. She knew what she was doing up to a point. She knew it was wrong up to a point. She could have controlled herself up to a point, but she wasn't in a normal state of mind. Anu was found not guilty of murder, but she was found guilty of manslaughter. But listen to this. She was sentenced to 10 years in prison with a minimum parole period of 4 years that was backdated to when the crime first happened. So she was eligible for parole in 2 years. 2 years. Joe's mother was hysterical. She said in court, quote, 4 years, is that all my son is worth? Anu was released on parole in October of 2001 after only 4 years. She was sent back to jail in April of 2004 after breaching her parole conditions. She was re-released on August 5th of 2004. Madhavi also pled not guilty in her trial. She was found not guilty, and that was that. She had no consequences. So, I'm sorry, they planned to end someone's life, premeditated. They had an endless amount of conversations about this plan. They wrote about this plan in a journal. They spoke to anyone and everyone they saw about this plan. And one of them gets 4 years and the other one gets nothing. That is all I have for today's video. This one made me so angry and I won't be able to stop thinking about it for a long time, but let me know if you've heard of this case before. Thank you for spending time with me today and for listening to Joe's story. I hope you guys are all having the best day. If not, go do something to make it the best day. Make somebody happy, and I will see you in my next video. Massive kiss on the forehead to every single one of you.